So I saw this video on YouTube years ago, and it's really helped me out ever since. I always think about it. I always use it as kind of a model of how I can take down projects that are way larger than I can handle. This guy, Wally Wallington, built like a scale or, a miniature Stonehenge in his backyard. He didn't use tractors or machines or anything like that. He just used sticks, rocks, 5-gallon buckets, a garden hose, just real simple stuff, right? And he did it all by himself. And so he built this amazing thing that just looks almost impossible. Like, how the hell would he do that? But then what he shows is, hey, look, it's a bunch of little silly, super clever-ass steps. He would just take this large block, weighs thousands of pounds, and he would just wedge a board underneath it. And he's just wedging it back and forth and getting the block higher and higher until he gets it to the height that he wants. Then he can drop it in a hole, let the gravity pull it down into the hole. Just real clever stuff. Clever little systems where the guy's not freaking out, he's not stressed, he's not panicking, but he's also not trying to get it done in one day. We all have these giant dragons in life that just taunt us, and they're overwhelming, and we can never figure out how to get them done. And everybody has something, and if you're not going into fighting one of these dragons, you're coming out of fighting one of these dragons, and you're going to be fighting another one of these dragons soon. So what are these dragons? You're trying to find a new job, or maybe you're trying to get a relationship or fix the relationship you have. Maybe you're trying to raise your kids, pay your bills, start a business, something that is absolutely overwhelming. And every day you can't get it done, you just feel horrible, and you throw all this effort and work at it, and it seems to do nothing. It just gets worse. The months go on, the years go on, you go nowhere, so why try? So when you're going through life, our natural default as just kind of dumb genetic animals is just, when there's a problem, I want to attack it right now. If somebody said, I'm going to burn your house down unless you build a Stonehenge in your backyard, your instinct is, I got to do it right now. I got to go grab the block and I got to go try really, really hard and just lift it up. And then when I can't lift it up and I can't do it, I fall down, I cry, I panic, I'm overwhelmed. I threw all my effort at it. I threw my savior functions at it and the block didn't move. I don't know what else to do because all I have in life is my savior functions. All I have is just my natural reaction to just charge the project. And if I can't get it 0 to perfect done right now, I'm panicking, I'm crying, I'm freaking out. So the first step in how to overcome these giant obstacles is really to have the same emotional state as Wally Wallington. This guy is just kind of laughing, having a fun time in his backyard. Now, of course, he doesn't like have to build it or he's going to die, right? Now you're in a situation where you have to get this job done, whatever it is, or you're going to die. And that's why you're so stressed out. Because Wally Wallington is not in a position to where his animal is stressed out, he can think clearly. He can chip away at it. He can take his time. He has access to his whole mind, all of his functions, because he's not all stressed out. The first thing that I really found is that when I'm coming up against projects that are completely overwhelming, and I'm like, how am I going to get this done? It's not in my natural skill set. I'm not good at this. I don't know how to do it. I just embrace the freak out, but I give the freak out a set amount of time. I'll give myself like a day or two at the most to kind of freak out, feel sorry for myself, get overwhelmed, but then I put a limit on it. Like, all right, it's now been a day or two. I've done what I got to do to get all that negative crybaby energy out. Now, where's the whiteboard? How can I write this out and start to figure out how to chop this down? And here's how you do that. The first thing you got to do is write it down. Yes, you better write it down, because if you don't write it down, your stupid little brain can't hold all the variables. You can only hold a few things at a time. This project is super complex, whatever you're working on, with hundreds of variables, so you better start writing stuff down. So the first thing I do is I just write down the shit mess SE. What are all the variables? What's the timeline that I need this done by? What's the general cost? How many people involved? Who else has done this? What have I done like this that has worked before? What's not worked? What am I afraid of? What have I done that actually I am pretty good at in this area? Just write down, just brainstorming everything. Just write out a giant shit mess. You then start to look at, okay, who out there has done something like this? I have found a lot of success in copying the military because they have large, complex tasks that they have to get done, and they're really good at breaking things up into smaller steps, chipping away at it. They're coming at it with cleverness, patience, teamwork, systems. So I get a lot of good stuff from watching military documentaries and figuring out how they do stuff. Then you'll study Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, whoever it is that you're watching, and going, all right, how are these guys breaking down these kind of challenges that are similar to what I'm dealing with? The point is, you have to see your challenge in somebody else's life who has beat it. Did you get that? You have to see your challenge, even though I know yours is so special and no one's gone through this problem like you and you're the only one to ever feel this bad. You have to see other people that have had similar challenges and then how they have beat it. And the more people you can find, the better, because you can pull different benefits from each person. And then the third thing, you got to set up your workbench. That means you got to have a place for your notes. You got to have a place for your progress. You got to have a place for all the tools you got to get. You got to have a place for the research that you got to do. And then as you're researching people that have beat this, you got to be able to put that in a Google Doc. And how are you going to store that? How are you going to organize that? How are you going to fund this? So you got to now go get to work, and you got to give yourself a platform to do that. Now, if you live in a chaos house, maybe your workbench has got to be in your car, or in the backyard in the bushes, or in your bedroom, or in the attic. Some little place where you can kind of set up your lab and go, okay, when I come here into this workstation, this is my little battleship where I'm going to work on and attack this problem. Once you get to that point where you're doing the research and you're setting up a workstation and you're chipping away, you're going to do fine. You got unlimited resources out there. Your human brain's going to be activated. You'll be able to take care of all that stuff just fine. It's getting to that point. The problem is getting started on it because you're way back at step 0 and you're freaking out because this is so scary and it's such a monster and it's so impossible and I tried everything, right? So it's getting through that emotional overwhelm and breaking this down into, okay, look, I've gotten through school. That was scary, but I figured it out. I beat this video game. That was scary when I first started. I figured it out. I had this relationship. That was scary when I first had it, but I figured it out. And you got to help yourself get to that emotional state to where you can calm down and go, all right, this is a huge problem. It is a do or die, but I got to spend a couple days, get that out of my system, calm down, and now start chipping away at this and start working at this. Once you can get that traction, it's now just a matter of time.